All right, welcome to the final day of JNUC 2024. I hope everybody had fun at the party last night. Yeah. It was a good time. It was a little bit loud at places, so my voice is very low today. I'm sure there are other people like that too. So we're here to welcome Alec and Nick to talk about maximizing ROI with marketplace integrations. Take it away, Alec and Nick.
Wow, thank you so much. Wow, I did not expect it. That really is nice first thing in the morning, just people like clapping at you. That's so cool. Well, yes, hello everyone, good morning. Thanks so much for waking up early, being with us here. We're so excited to have you. I'm excited to be here. Alec, you excited to be here?
I am.
You're kind of still mixed. You're not sure.
I'm feeling good.
Okay.
I'm feeling good. This is my first JNUC for everybody who's just joining us. So
anybody's first JNUC in here? Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Oh, I don't feel as alone anymore. So this is great.
We're all in this together. This is great. Cool. So yes, welcome to our session, Maximizing Return on Investment, Unlocking IT Efficiency through Jamf Marketplace Integrations. Today, we're going to go through an overview of how integrating Jamf with various third-party solutions can really optimize your IT infrastructure, reduce those manual tasks that people always wish they probably could. Good news, there's tools for those things, and improve that overall efficiency throughout the entire device lifecycle. So excited to get into it. My name is Nick Morowicki. I am a Senior Solution Partner Manager at Jamf, which essentially means I work with new and/or existing partners to identify some type of valuable solution we can build out, bring to market together, and amplify for our customers to use and benefit from.
Cool. And my name is Alec. I am a systems engineer on the developer relations team, kind of Nick's counterpart, just more on the technical side. So when people have questions about our APIs or best practices when it comes to building integrations, it's kind of where I fill in. So.
Awesome. So yeah, just to quickly run through the agenda, we're going to be, of course, sharing more about the Jamf Marketplace, showcasing how those third-party integrations can extend the Jamf platform during every stage of the device, the life cycle. So I think some of those things up there you're probably familiar with. It's part of your everyday, and it's exciting to get into it. We'll recap at the end, provide some resources, and make sure that we can address any questions that you have as well.
Awesome. Well, one thing that's going to be clear, I'm not a sales guy. I'm going to be talking about some of our different partners, some of their different solutions that they've created. I'm not trying to necessarily sell you on any one thing. I want to make you aware of the solutions that are out there. You can read the other outcomes on here, but really the point I'm trying to drill in is that we have a lot of partners that cover a lot of things that extends the capabilities of Jamf, and well, we want you to be aware of them. So. During this presentation, we're going to give a quick overview of, like I said, some of our different partners. Obviously, we can't give you a full rundown of everyone. That would take probably 3 hours, and I don't think we have the amount of time. They might kick us out of here before then. So it'll be a quick overview. If there are questions about any of the specific partners, I'm happy to answer them after the fact. But we're going through, like I said, I think it's 6 partners.
That sounds about right.
Somewhere in there. We'll get there. But we'll give you some real-world examples of how to use these, tips on how maximizing that ROI with these different integrations, and really just hopefully help you in moving forward with Jamf and our partners.
Yes, and cool. And one thing to note before we jump in, you've been here for a couple days. You've probably gone through the expo hall. Some of the names and logos you see up here are here with us today. So definitely, if you have more questions, we can answer as many as we can here, but definitely encourage you to go chat with the folks in the expo hall that can support you even on a deeper dive. So yeah, cool. All right. So I mentioned, talking through the stages of the device lifecycle. Probably everyone in this room has a pretty firm understanding of what the device lifecycle is and what device lifecycle management means. Maybe if not, totally cool. Simply put, it's basically the optimization of device use throughout your entire business through effective planning at every different stage of the life cycle. So fairly simple concept, potentially tremendous complexity to it. So we're not going to get into everything today, but it's going to be really, it's going to be great. So let's quickly walk through what those stages are. There might be some differing views here, but I'm trying to keep it just pretty simple. So the first step, and it's important to not overlook this step, right? Is to plan. It's where you ask the questions, what's in my budget? What do our users need? Are we going to be growing in the next few years? I think probably most folks in this room have had those conversations, had those questions that you've had to ask internally. How do you actually keep all the Apple devices on your radar? How do you maintain them? And then at the end of the life cycle, what do you do with them, right? So there's a lot to talk about through that. Obviously, next, procure. This is usually thought of as kind of the first step, but there's actually way more to do before you even talk to a procurement person and buy an actual device. So we'll get into that. Deploy, obviously this is something that's kind of bread and butter for Jamf, right? This is how we support you in terms of automated device enrollment, using those Apple accounts, and your identity provider, all of the things that kind of goes into that stage to make sure that it's efficient, effective. Users are getting what they need for their role in their location so they can be effective in their role. Maintenance, this is really all about kind of keeping track of every device under your organization's management, making repairs to hardware, software as quickly as you can, hopefully, and ensuring that everything is free of any security risk. So much that goes into that. So also includes obviously app updates, patches, compliance monitoring, trying to understand every different piece of the inventory tracking. And then last and occasionally overlooked, due to that kind of excitement of the front end of the buying cycle where you have new and fresh, exciting hardware and you don't necessarily think about 3 years down the road. This is an exciting and really important piece as well. So we're going to get into some awesome integrations that can help you maximize the return on the devices that you initially procure. Cool, and obviously it's meant to be a cyclical process, just kind of going around and around as long as you have those Apple devices under your management in your organization. So for today, we're actually going to go a little bit further. We're going to break every stage into a few different components. So really starting with Jamf as that foundational element through trusted access, all of the things that we can provide. As you can see here, those little dots before, they kind of broke out and then we added a couple more just to make sure that we're covering all those bases. So quickly, we'll talk about, and obviously here you can see this is a linear line, but with a little arc to it, the arc of the device lifecycle, but of course it just goes around and around just like the actual device lifecycle does. So has anybody used the Jamf Marketplace before? Anybody use an integration on the Jamf Marketplace? One, awesome. Two, yes, great. And maybe you've actually deployed more integrations than you might be aware of, but that's awesome. So thank you so much for being here and learning about the Jamf Marketplace. To quickly introduce it, it's really the central location that we offer to our customers to find, learn about, and deploy hundreds of tools that can really extend the Jamf platform for you. So when our team works with new partners, we try to identify a problem that we can solve together. We ideate around the solution that we can build together, launch an integration to market, and make sure that we can amplify it for our customers' use. So lots that goes into it. Lots of partners, over 300 partners at this point, 200 active integrations, really just designed to be a trusted source of vetted integrations at Jamf that you can utilize. So yeah, really designed to help you tailor your specific needs of your organization to make sure that you're adding on as many things that can just help you be more efficient. Lots of tools in there. Definitely encourage you to take a peek. Obviously, you can see that you can sort by a lot of different things depending on if it's an integration, maybe it's an app config, or maybe you just need help with a deployment guide around a specific tool. All of those resources and links out to the appropriate support pages with our third parties are going to be found on the marketplace. Once you click in, you can see all of those different aspects as well. So won't spend too much time in the actual marketplace. We'll let you all explore that later. But procure is the first stage. Of course, we talked about it earlier, as almost everything at Jamf entails, it starts with Apple, right? So really important at this stage to ensure that you're initially set up to be really successful, going through the process to enable automated device enrollment, making sure that those boxes are ready to go before they're even open, right? So this is an important stage, obviously going through a lot of different, we have an extensive channel organization, or if you work with Apple directly, important piece to actually go through and make sure that if you need to take advantage of financing or lifecycle management in that way from a procurement perspective, there are tools and resources to do that. So let's move to the next stage, the second stage, deploy.
Cool. So the first partner, I guess, that I'm going to talk about today is called Set Up Your Mac. To probably nobody's surprise, that revolves setting up a Mac. So go ahead into the next slide.
Sure.
But I think we can all agree that crafting a good workflow for employees is a very important first step from when they're first onboarding with the company to receiving a new computer. We want to make that experience, well, first of all, easy for them. Second of all, we want them to understand what's happening on their device. And third of all, we want to make sure they actually get all the settings and apps and restrictions and that kind of thing that they need to function and do their work. Set Up Your Mac is a script created by Jamf community members. I know when I say the word script, that might scare people. We'll get to how it's a lot easier than it might sound in a second here. But it essentially provides a nice UI. So this is essentially post-automated device enrollment. They would receive the screen you're seeing up there. It allows them to do things like add their personal information, whether that's their name and email address, phone number, location, whatever that might be. That's customizable. But it allows them to enter that information, and in a moment here, you'll see how that shows them what's actually happening on the Mac. And, well, right on cue. After they enter their information, they're presented with this screen, which goes through, different steps along the way. So if there's different apps installing, they're able to see how that process is going. If something fails, they'll be notified with some sort of error message, and maybe that means they need to reach out to IT. Maybe that means they need to retry something on their own, turn on Wi-Fi, whatever the case may be. The error messages can be used to help, I guess, ease that IT interaction, because we know exactly what's wrong right at the moment without having to fuss with any logs or anything like that. So kind of the first step along the way, everything you're seeing within that last window there was policies that were set up within Jamf. Essentially, you're setting up those policies with a custom trigger. That's how Set Up Your Mac knows how to call those different policies. You can go ahead, next one. This is kind of a companion tool. So this is not what the user is seeing. This is actually how the admin yourself would be setting up that script. And so like I said, script sounds scary, sounds time consuming, but in reality, it's all kind of built out using this, it's called Set Up Your Mac Helper. You can see on the sidebar there that there's a list of policies. All those are pulled directly from Jamf Pro. Essentially, you add your API credentials into the Set Up Your Mac app. It reaches out to Jamf Pro, gets a list of what's available. It's kind of as simple as dragging and dropping. That's more or less all you need to do. On the back end, then, this is configuring the script to have exactly what policies you're setting there. You can go ahead to the next one. So along with customizing the specific apps and policies that the user is receiving, you can also customize what they're prompted to fill in. So if you want them to be prompted for that asset tag or be prompted for their user information, you can do that. If you don't want to, well, just flip the button off. Along with that, if you can read it up there, there's also areas that you can add support information and really just customize, add branding information. That was one I was meaning to say, but really just customize that whole experience for the user. And so I really love this tool. I think it exemplifies a really cool piece of our marketplace, which is, well, Jamf community members that have built a cool tool. They want to help admins because they think they're probably facing some of the same issues, and they just want to make it available for everyone to use. And so along with working with partner companies, we love working with individual developers and community members to provide value to you as Jamf customers. So yeah, and like I said, if there's any more questions, I'm obviously not giving the full rundown of how to, but feel free to ask questions afterwards, or there's more information on our marketplace about exactly how to deploy.
Cool, so let's jump into that next stage, identity. We tend to think of identity maybe as less of a device stage and more of just a crucial component of device management and onboarding and employee experience. But we work alongside, obviously, numerous IDPs, including Okta. So just to briefly kind of speak to that piece, obviously, we do a lot with Okta. We share a vision of really that modern cloud identity for an uninterrupted native login experience on Apple devices. So our integrated technology, as I mentioned, does a lot, but it's really designed to provide a unified identity across apps, secure access to company apps, and a fast identity-led onboarding experience for modern, seamless identity management. Now, we could easily host an entire 45-minute session just on this topic alone, but this is new, it's exciting. Jamf Protect's endpoint protection detection and response capabilities can now integrate with Okta's ITP to enrich the organization's understanding of user risk for deep multi-platform device security context. So again, through Jamf Protect, crucial device context and network security insights are fed into ITP, enabling real-time risk assessment and automated response actions. So, such as reevaluating access policies or enforcing step-up authentication, logging events when a user's device becomes non-compliant or potentially compromised. So, extremely exciting stuff. I would encourage everyone to, as Alex mentioned, we just don't have the time to go into all of this today, but really to summarize, Jamf keeps Okta informed on a device's security posture by continuously streaming events with every different change in risk. So yeah, that's a lot of text up there. Sorry for that, folks, but hopefully it's helpful. And if you want to learn more, good news, we have a lot of information that's coming out on our Learning Hub. Okta's putting out some great stuff as well, so you can go check it out. Let us know if you have any more specific questions about that. But yeah, that's Okta. Really, really briefly. Again, many sessions have been done entirely just on Jamf and Okta, but that was about 30 seconds. I'll turn it over to you.
It was a great 30 seconds, though.
Oh, thank you.
So the next piece of this, I guess, identity portion, I want to talk about Entra ID. And the piece I wanted to focus on with this was a single sign-in workflow using our Jamf Setup app. And so I'm going to have a video playing here in a quick second, kind of showing a demonstration of how this would look on device. But I guess what I want you to do is imagine yourself as a nurse or somebody who's on a warehouse floor or a retail worker who's picking up a shared device for, well, their shift. They need the apps, they need to do their work, and they need to be signed into those apps. And I think one thing that we can all agree on, it sucks to sign into 10 different apps every day. Nobody wants to do it, whether it's on computer or iPad or anything like that. So one way that we're working on really easing that situation for, again, specifically these shared devices, is by implementing a single sign-in workflow on these iPads. And so go ahead and start running through it. Might be a couple clicks. I can't remember what we did there. But in this first clip here, what you're going to see is kind of a testing app that we have internally. It doesn't look too exciting. It's not too exciting. But really, all that's there to show you is that there's nothing signed into the device right now. No user information. It's essentially a blank device. If kind of previous to this, you probably saw that the apps on the device, there was really like the settings app and then the Jamf setup app. There wasn't much available to that user. So you can imagine this as a fresh device at the beginning of their shift. Essentially, they're forced to sign in with the setup app, and we can go to the next clip here. So you'll see in this next one is opening up the setup app. They'll be presented with probably something they're pretty familiar with, a sign-in window here. They'll sign in with their Entra credentials, and that'll take them through the process. Along the way here, what the setup app is doing is assigning the user to the device within Jamf Pro, and it's also assigning an extension attribute. And so in this case, it was a nurse, their position obviously. But in Jamf Pro, obviously that allows us to do some automation around smart groups, which apps they need, which services they need, which restrictions. And you can see here that once the user signs in, they're presented with whatever apps they may need for that day. And so that part's cool, but I think the cooler part is that along with getting these apps on the device, they can automatically be signed in as long as the app itself supports that Microsoft service for sign-in. And so next clip, again, I'm just bringing up that testing app again. But essentially, this is just going to show that at this point, the user credentials are saved. And again, any app can support this. One of our jobs as a developer relations team is working with different app developers to implement solutions like this, so we can have it wide-ranging, and hopefully have it with any app that you could possibly need. But again, it's something that I think is super cool, and again, that shared setting really eases the life of a lot of people. So cool. Yeah. So onto security. The partner I'm focusing on here, as soon as it pops up, is there's Tines. Tines is, I guess, at the base level, it's an automation tool, and you can go into the next one here. But yeah, so Tines is a workflow and automation service that realistically will work with any API. So it's not Jamf specific. You can really connect any system. The benefit to this is that it makes it so much easier than doing it on your own. And you can see here, they have what are called stories. Essentially, these are pre-configured workflows that are either created by potentially Tines employees, maybe they're created by outside Jamf community members, but really they're just ready to go plug and play solutions. And so I'm gonna highlight one here. This is kind of a simple lost device workflow. And so you can see the writing's a little small, but I'll tell you what's there, I guess. You can see some different icons on there. Essentially, this is taking through the process of a user may have lost a device. They go into their IT tool, they mark that device as lost. In this workflow, they're required to actually authenticate with Duo security. Once they pass that check, a device loss or a lost mode command is sent from Jamf Pro to the device. Tines is then aware if that either succeeded or failed, and they can present that to the user themselves. And then from there, this is automatically actually creating a Jira ticket as well. So whether that's succeed in the lost mode or it failed because it's off Wi-Fi or whatever it might be, a Jira ticket's automatically created so IT's aware of the situation. And so again, it's kind of as simple as clicking into it. Obviously, if you needed to edit any specific thing, you could, but as is, you can use it. All you really need to do is add your API credentials for whether it's Jamf Pro or Jira, fill in that part, and it's ready to go. And I love that, again, the community members are helping fill in some of the gaps and just creating ready to use options. But along with, obviously, not everything that's created by community members is going to fit every need you have. The other thing I like about Tines is that they make custom workflows as simple as possible as well. So you can kind of see here, this is, I guess you call it the Jamf library. If you've ever been to our Jamf developer portal and seen the API endpoints listed there, this is essentially reflecting those. But the difference is you don't necessarily need to code it. It's more of a drag and drop option. Along with Jamf, like I said, Tines can work with really any API. So if you wanted to make workflows for, let's say a new device is being enrolled in Jamf Pro, you want to be notified in Slack. If you wanted to make sort of a one-button offboarding process where a device is decommissioned along with the user and whatever identity provider, that's possible. Again, it's a super cool tool that just allows you to easily make these workflows even if you don't have that coding experience.
Great. Thanks, Alex. That's fantastic. So let's move on. We're actually just over that big hump there. So moving on to the managed step, let's talk about one of our partners, Umnitsa. So you've probably seen, again, many of these partners are over in the expo hall. ETM solutions or enterprise technology management or management solutions like Umnitsa, they really integrate, similar to obviously the way that Tines was just mentioning, they integrate with existing IT, security, and business applications to ensure that you can aggregate, correlate multi-source data, and really have a better sense of your fleet in that hygiene sense, and making sure that you have inventory or accurate inventory controls. So much that you can do, and I would also say that many of these partners, although we're splitting them into sort of one stage of the device lifecycle, they can touch almost every stage. So Umnitsa has fantastic onboarding, offboarding capabilities. So the management piece is just one component. But just to dig into it a little bit, obviously you can leverage the inventory that you're pulling via API to have really a dynamic reporting based on all of the different various solutions that you're working into Umnitsa. So everything throughout your tech stack, really. And you can usually view that device data pulled from Jamf and other tools that provides the context that you might need to automate specific workflows, kind of similar to what Alec was just mentioning, ultimately eliminating the manual tasks that no one wants to do because these tools can help us with it. So making sure that you're reducing all the tickets, optimizing your IT spend by just saving that money, saving that time, saving those resources by doing other cooler things maybe. So Umnitsa is pretty awesome. Here's just a brief example. I know it's very small, but you can see the workflow here of a pretty common thing that almost everyone's doing, right? It's similar to onboarding. It's an offboarding process. So it goes through utilizing Umnitsa to aggregate information from Jamf and all of the other associated tools, even internal legal departments, to ensure that those devices are offboarded effectively, securely, making sure that you're going through all the due diligence around security and compliance risk components too. So very, very cool stuff. It's really fun to work with. If you have a chance, definitely go check it out. They can show you a deep dive and answer any specific questions that are maybe more around what you're trying to achieve with all the tools that you're managing. So very cool stuff. And I'll hand it back to Alec.
Cool. So the next partner I want to talk about is called NavTrack. And NavTrack is a fleet management tool. Go ahead and next one. And there's a video here as well I like to show, so let's make sure that plays first. But
Sure.
Essentially, well, like you can kind of see on the screen there, a big part of what they do is actually live device tracking. So obviously within Jamf, the only time we, as I guess a management solution, can get that device location is, well, when a device is turned or turns on lost mode. But I know that it's a need for a lot of people to keep track of their devices. If a device is leaving a building or it gets left under a bed or in a desk or something like that, you want to be able to find it. I was reading a stat somewhere that said in like hospitals specifically, somewhere around 15% of iOS devices can go missing in a year. So I know it's it's a big need to keep track of your devices. So it integrates with Jamf, and actually, can you go back to that last screen quick? NavTrack integrates with Jamf, so there's automation workflows you can do around geofencing. So again, I mentioned that if a device leaves a building, you could have it automatically enable lost mode. Obviously, that helps with potentially retrieving the device, but on even the worst case scenario where that device just leaves and never comes back, at very least, we can lock down that data and make sure that, again, I guess hospital is kind of the example I've been using here, that healthcare device is not giving away any information it shouldn't. So yeah, you can go to the next one now. Along with that I suppose automated lost mode feature, it also does pull in device data from Jamf. So whether that's, well, I think you see like the device names, departments, floor numbers, anything that it really have in Jamf can be kind of ported over to this NavTrack system to just have an easy eye on your fleet and make sure that everything is running correctly, it's in the right spot, and it's going to be ready to use. Kind of again in that shared device situation, it's going to be ready to use for that next nurse or whoever may be picking it up. So yeah, go ahead.
Cool. So we'll talk quickly here. I know, gosh, just a couple left, folks. Hang in there. I appreciate everybody again. I know it's early. But yeah, as mentioned earlier, retirement, refresh, there's stages that really can be occasionally overlooked, again, due to that excitement of just onboarding the new gear, getting it in the hands of users. But the last part, maybe 2, 3, 4 years down the line, just depending on the technology, thanks to the great residual value of Apple devices, sometimes it's easy to overlook this stage, but thankfully we have some awesome partners like diamond assets that can really help manage this process and ensure that you're getting the most out of your technology. So I'll hand it to Alec. He's going to talk through the specific, really exciting new integration that Diamond Assets has into Jamf.
Cool. And I do think I see one of our Diamond Assets friends in the crowd here. So if there's any questions, I might throw them under the bus later. But
in the front row.
We'll see how that goes. But I think, as we all know, technology eventually becomes outdated. That doesn't seem like a too crazy of a thing to say. But you want to be able to see the potential value of your fleet. Keep an eye on, I guess, the age, supported OSs, all these different things that can kind of go overlooked when, well, when you're not specifically looking for them. So obviously I'm looking at Clarity by Diamond Assets here. This is a relatively new integration we've built. I mean, I'm not saying Diamond Assets is new, but this integration specifically is something I've been very excited about. Instead of, I think historically a lot of times, if you've needed quotes on old devices or just seeing that value of your fleet, you've had to maybe manually grab a CSV from your Jamf Pro, for example, upload that somewhere else, and they can give you a kind of a one-time quote on what that may be worth. The thing I love about this is that it takes that manual step and just throws it out the window. Instead, we integrate directly. You add your API credentials. They can grab the different information about your Jamf Pro devices and in real time show you that potential value. And I guess the other benefit there is that it is kept up to date. If you add new devices or ones are removed or broken or whatever it might be, you don't need to fumble around with those CSVs, manually uploading things and keeping track of it. Like you can see there, I keep pointing to it, but it keeps track of it. And I love the style. I just like charts in general, so I think they're pretty. But again, it's an easy, at a glance way to see exactly what's your environment. You can kind of see there as well. They do, and actually, can you go back? Yeah, one quick sec. Another really cool thing that I think they do. I know a lot of people and a lot of companies are very environmentally conscious at this point. They do a really great job of kind of showing you the impact that upcycling may have. And again, I just know that in today's times, it's a very important piece, and I love that they've added that as well, including the like the money cost as well. So this is just another example of what it's pulling in. You can see direct values for specific devices. See other information. Again, most of what I was saying earlier still applies here as well, but just wanted to show a little bit more of the system. But yeah, that's
Yeah, I mean, some additional context too. We've been trying to do something like this for a few years. And just to reduce that process, you all have enough to manage during all of the other stages of the life cycle. Sometimes, again, this is an afterthought, so instead of just doing that export as a CSV and having to go through a quote that may or may not have sense, having the ability to have dynamic reporting anytime anything changes within Jamf Pro is pretty remarkable and can really help you at that stage in terms of understanding. Obviously, you sell something too early, you're going to miss out on some funds. You sell something too late, there might be less of a market for that device. So super powerful, really exciting about making sure that we can support users with this step. Cool, and just like that, we are at the end of the device lifecycle, which actually brings us sort of full circle and right back to the beginning, right? So planning the refresh, making sure that that next batch of Apple devices is effectively onboarded, whether it's going through a lease process with Apple Financial Services or a different channel provider, making sure that all of those pieces kind of tie in and are seamless as a part of both the user experience, obviously, but also the admin experience. Joel, and this is a really important thing too. We haven't talked about this really much at all. I guess there was a retail and sort of healthcare a call out, but we collaborate with a ton of technical partners that we've established industry-specific integrations with. So this could really be anything from retail, healthcare, transportation, manufacturing, hard hat, a lot of different areas where this technology can do some pretty amazing things. So There's more on this. We have a lot of resources. If you haven't yet, go check out the industry booth in our expo hall. Chris Diaz, Rick Lucero, Tim Knox, Vix, a whole host of amazing people on that team that do great work and support our industry solutions, as well as deskless workflows as well. So lots to talk about there. Unfortunately, we don't have the time today to really dig into it, but we have, again, this is just a few of those partners working in specific industries that can help end users and obviously also admins find the specific solution that maybe someone else in the organization, a user, a manager, the CEO is asking for you to figure out how to do something in an industry. These are partners that can help you do that alongside Jamf. Alec, we're doing pretty good on time. This is great. This is pretty great.
I was worried about that for a little bit.
I know you were. I know you were. We're okay. Everyone's okay. We've made it. So just to quickly recap, today we showed a variety and really the scope of solutions available on the Jamf Marketplace. Hopefully this is helpful in identifying or helping you identify and implement those integrations that can really align more closely with your organization's need. Obviously everyone in here is probably doing something a little different, working in different industries, commercial, education. We have solutions in all of those different verticals. Hopefully also able to gain insights mostly from Alec in terms of best practices, tips and tricks in terms of actually making sure you have the capabilities to integrate these different solutions. And obviously finally, just discussing strategies around optimizing each phase of the Apple device lifecycle and helping you do that better. Anything that we can do, that's our role, is to ensure that if Jamf is an incredibly valuable tool, it's an incredibly complex tool, but there's a lot that you can layer on top that you may just not know about yet. So really excited to talk to you all about that. Obviously Jamf is tying that entire thing together. We're the cohesive sort of glue that's keeping it going through trusted access. So that's kind of that final snapshot of everything we've gone through today. As mentioned earlier, many of the partners are here with us, so definitely if you're looking to talk to Diamond Assets, I see Diamond Assets here right now. I'm not sure if any of the other folks are here, but they're definitely in the expo hall. They have great teams that you can talk to and work with. Also, if you want to just sit down and learn about how to actually get started within the program that we support, the Technology Partner Program, if you have an idea about an integration that you're like, hey, can someone just build this, please? Come find me in the Brain Date Hall. I have a Brain Date at 10:30 this morning, so I'll be in there. I'll be at the industry booth, and I think Alec will be around as well. Yeah, you're also doing the industry booth. Great. So with, gosh, about 6 minutes left on our time.
Perfect.
I think Kyle has a microphone. He's walking around, and if anyone does have any questions, definitely happy to address them in the moment here, or, no. Oh, yeah, we got one. Great.
If we don't have a question right now, what's the best way to get a feature request or like integration request to you?
Yeah, well, we can connect and you can work with me directly. You can work with Alec directly. Technologypartners@jamf.com is also a really great place to start. So we would love that feedback. Obviously, a part of the sort of discovery process with new partners is they might have a solution, but is it a problem that anyone needs to solve? You know what I mean? If you build it, will they actually come and use it? So direct feedback from our users around specific ideas of integrations that we can support with customers to help you, that's exactly, it sort of removes that mystery step up front of the discovery phase and ideation phase. If we can just go directly to you and support you with something and find a partner that can do it, that's much more effective, right? So yeah.
Technologypartners@jamf.com.
That's right.
Cool.
Yeah, thank you. Great question.
All right, do we have other questions?
Doing that 7 seconds of silence thing, is that what it is, right?
That's what we're doing.
Well, I think we are in good shape. If you do have any questions, if you're a little shy and you don't want to go in front of the group, you can just, obviously, we're going to be here. Come talk to us, and we're happy to support you. Really, thank you all, everyone, for waking up, getting here early after, I don't know, I ate way too much food last night at the hall, so I'm barely moving up here. But thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate you, and thanks for coming to JNUC. Everybody have a great final day at JNUC. Can't believe it's already here. It's flown right by.
Yeah, let's give Alec and Nick a round of applause. Great rest of your day.
Thank you, everyone.